Crypto market is showing a lot of drama. The price actually moved higher, kind of got a lot of attention, and then immediately there was a candle pushing the price to the downside. But I would say that's a bluff. More or less, the market is still holding on to the price movement to the upside. The trend is still bullish. You can literally zoom in and see that, okay, this is what's happening. Most likely, we're going to come back to this support and bounce off. So that means XRP is still at the resistance. If Bitcoin bounces through that range, we get to see a breakout here. Say you look at highly correlated assets, all of them shows you same message. Don't jump on the wagon saying we are dropping down, because if you actually look at what we are trading against, that's dollar. It's at a resistance, it's slowing down, it's showing you a negative pattern, so the price action can come back down. XRP on this hand here shows you a lot of bullishness. If you actually look at the last daily candle which has closed compared to what we are watching here in XLM, we literally got an engulfing candle here on XRP. XLM didn't do that. So XRP is somehow managing to increase the level of bullishness it has in this session. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. We have some mixed news on the news narrative and the fundamental side of things. We're watching judges are slapping the SEC again, but on the other end, we do have something from New York which shows like, okay, Ripple is being, or XRP is being taken out of a green list. So we have to look at how things are evolving and the fundamentals and which direction we are actually going, because some of these are absolutely strong. And you do have to keep this in mind that things are really interesting. So before we continue, thank you for all these guys who are smashing that like button. I'm so thankful. If you have any comments, let me know in the comment section below. If you are following me on Twitter, that's great. And if you are on Twitter and if you're not following me yet, this is where you can see. We are actually giving you a lot of narratives, a lot of things happening in the market. I'm trying to follow through that. So if you would like to see that on time, that's the area. Now, if you are an XRP community member and you would like to have this, I would say, look at it. That's going to be a great thing to have. Now, let's jump back into this. So, Judge just declined SEC's request to inspect Binance US. So I'm like, okay, SEC is giving you a narrative that Binance is not good. They are doing some fraudulent practices. And they're going into the court saying, okay, we need to actually inspect these guys. Great, boom. But what's literally happening over there? Meaning, if the court is actually thinking like, okay, that's a possibility, SEC kind of have all the information to prove that these guys are the bad guys, the court would have actually stated that, okay, go and check them. But right now, the judge is literally saying, nah, that's not possible, which means all of that the SEC is saying right now, it's just bogus stuff. They're just making things up as they go. We know that. So that's the side of news and narrative. And yeah, we have actually seen like the New York actually is coming out highlighting like they're kind of minimizing the list. They're taking all the other coins out and they're just giving the Bitcoin, the Ether, and a selective set a green listing, which is not appropriate considering even the court just highlighted the fact that this is not a security. So you can't actually put this into a security exchange to trade. Basically, that's not a security. So it should be on a crypto exchange. So when these guys are coming out, the DFS, and saying, okay, it's not the green list, so you cannot put that in your asset. Like there are a lot of exchanges which are already listing XRP. What would they do? Right? So all these are mixed opinion which will need to be changed. The congressman has to work on this. Two, if you actually look at the city, the banks, yeah, that's a lot of attention coming into this. But shout out to Chad for highlighting this fact that Citi is actually a partner of Volante. We know the Volante, the API, what they use for processing the payments, the settlements especially. And now we are watching like, if you actually go through this and look through that, you kind of get an idea like, okay, that kind of shows you a huge mode that you can actually literally use XRP and reduce the cost. We all understand that fact. But what's new? These guys are trying it out and understanding the fact that, yeah, they can literally use this over traditional settlement rails and then get that advantage. That's true. Now, the primary question for all of us becomes like, okay, we agree. All the fundamentals are there. We're watching that. The market is kind of showing you that. But what about the price action? Are we actually watching something? Are we watching a possibility that the price can actually go up? I would say watch this. This is a trend. This is a pattern which the price action is playing out, right? It literally became a level of resistance, but then we broke below that. We made a support, we started bouncing. So it started acting as a resistance. Now, all of a sudden, watch this. All of a sudden, you're actually coming back up to that range, getting rejected, slowing down, going back up, getting rejected. So most likely what's going to happen? Next time you're going to climb back up and go to this region. That's going to be somewhere close to $1.3. Now, can we really break through that range? Have we ever done something like that in history? That's a big question which we have to ask ourselves, right? So when we actually try plotting that, we have this range which goes like this. So I'm like, okay, I'm watching, I'm observing that. What happened last time around when we started trending higher? Great. It's something similar in my opinion. That was the support. You go back up, you come back down that range, retest that, you break that. But then when you come back up, eventually you are taking that as a resistance. You come back up again, take that as a resistance, you go back down. After that, when you bounce, you break through that range. And I'm like, wow, that's actually huge. So we have done this in the past, and there is a big possibility that this trend can actually come out and play out in what we are watching here. Now, what does that mean? If we actually break through that range and that's not the roof, we have a long way to go. We're literally talking about this impulse going all the way up to $6 to $8. That's actually a big run up considering where we are in the price structure. Great. So if you're actually zooming in, because we actually went in detail on the last video where we actually tried to give you guys the best ideas of how things are evolving. If you haven't taken time to watch this, I would say that's going to be one of the best videos which has been created in a shorter span to give you the most value as much as possible. Now, jumping back into the reality, we're actually watching things. Great. So as you zoom in, we actually want to know like, okay, we discussed all these macro possibilities in yesterday's video. How is the market reacting right now to that? Are we deviating away from that? Are we kind of, balancing the equation to solve this? I would say like, okay, this is a lot bullish than what we are seeing in a lot of other assets. We are trying to see that the price action is giving you a bullish engulfing candle at a time when you have already broken this range of previous support, which should be acting as a resistance. Great. Now, the primary question here becomes like, okay, that's the fact. However, we kind of have to see like a bounce from this range so that we come back up to this range of resistance. This was a previous range. We have actually seen this range acting as a strong resistance. So if we do bounce off, then we have to see that breaching 0.55. Great. Now, the question is, okay, do we have enough strength to do that? The strength is actually trending higher, which actually gives you the idea that's okay, that's cool. But then the question becomes like, most of us would be interested in knowing what are we really looking at, because the technicals here show you like it's a sell. Okay, that's what they're saying. So I'm like, okay, yearly, that's green. Year to date, that's green. Last 6 months, it's green. So in a monthly, it's red, except that it is green in all of this. What do you make of that? Now, I really want to like to know, like, how many of you guys actually think that's positive? How many of you guys are thinking that's negative? Because I'm going to try giving my perspective here. If you have any different opinion, let me know in the comment section. So here we go. This is what they're saying. This is the trend line. This is, say, last 1 year. They're observing this and saying like, okay, that's green. Year to date, say till September, that's green. So what do you actually mean by sell here? I'm like, that's what a lot of people are using to understand what they should do. That's the system which they're following. But my question is like, if you're trending higher, you went up, you came back to the mean, what do you expect? I think it should go up next and you're here. So what they're saying is a sell in this range, but what most likely will happen here is that you're going to see this bouncing back up, because in every trend we have actually seen things evolving in a similar way. Now, you can actually be conservative, you can actually go back from the initial point to see like, okay, if that's what this guy is saying, do we really have enough ideas in the market to show us like, okay, that's what's going to happen? So we have discussed about the MACD, we discussed about the RSI, it's all still there. We're stepping in one by one from the monthly to the weekly. We are watching that the weekly candle is now super interesting. Because if you are looking at the weekly candle and saying like, okay, that hammer is kind of one of the best thing to actually watch, because the odds of a price action or a pattern or a trend is one of the best thing to keep in mind. When you actually get this candle, what's the odds? That's 80%, and that's the highest. If you have the other one, that's 70, this 70, this 55. So you actually have a lot of different things happening in the market. Great. So that means this candle itself is giving you a huge bullish signal. Great. Now what's happening after that? We are trying to push higher. We are trying to move higher. When can we expect more bullishness in the price action? There's going to be an interesting question, because all of us really want to see the price blasting off. Great. So now we're actually trying to zoom in to see like, okay, what level are we really watching? 0.5088. It's like the price is almost there. So if you actually watch the price breaking this range, I would expect it to actually go much higher. While you remain in between these range and you consolidate, say you take in a daily chart, you take in a 4-hour chart, the price can still remain inside that range on a daily or a weekly close and consolidate in, right? Now, it can take a day, it can take a couple of days. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out. But what I expect the price to do is that this range, once it's broken, you're going to retest that and then take off. That's what I'm expecting the price to do. And at that point, this is just pure visualization. We are trying to give it an idea like, okay, if that's going to play out, okay, are we ready? I think we are all inside this. Once you actually see this price action breaking through this range, it should give you an idea where we are headed, because this actually completely aligns with the macro structure we have been talking about, with the historical trend line, which we really want to see holding on. This is holding really strong. You are getting bounce way before you reach that trend line. Now, we can plot it here or a little bit here, depending on how you look at that, but the easiest way is to take in this. And I would say like, okay, that kind of gives us more certainty, saying like the momentum is increasing, it's not reducing. Because as soon as you bounce back up here, this recent dip becomes a fake out. Just like what we have seen in the past, just like what the history shows us. That was a fake out. You started the big run up after that. If that's coming here next, this sell is just the market makers saying, sell, we'll buy, you go out, we ride this wave. We don't want that to happen. We want ye to make the profit. That's why we spend time here educating you guys about this is the reality. You have to take time for sure. You need to master the price action, the candlestick, the pattern, and everything. Yes, it's going to take time, but it's also going to take a lot of effort. So now, once you're in the market at the right time, before the major breaks to the upside are happening, you are in the market. Consider yourself as a lucky human being to be in the market at this time, because last time this happened was all the way back here in March 2020 towards June, July 2020. That was a huge time to be in the market. Yes, you missed the first big run up, but that gave you a confirmation that the market has actually done the wave 1, is going for the wave 2, and now the correction for the wave 3 is over and you're headed towards wave 3. This is one of the bullish stuff I'm watching in a 3-wave structure there. Great ideas are coming into the market for trades. There's a lot of different assets showing you different opportunities for sure, but keep this in mind. As the price hovers in this range and slowly shows that I have a tendency to go higher. I have a tendency to go higher. It's just giving you that idea. And that's considered as a bluff in the market because you're holding this level. Certainly, if you look at this, you broke that range, you came back down, you retested and you bounced. Now, for me, that daily close kind of gives a confirmation I'm going up. But yeah, for sure, there can be the algorithm saying, no, I'm going down. And then, boom, you go up. So if you remove your position and then watch the price going up, it's not a good feeling. You don't want to do that. So make sure you understand this is what's happening in the market, or at least that has the higher odds in the market. So you are placed correctly. Now, if you think like, okay, I need more help understanding these bullshits happening in the market, that's why I'm here. I'm trying my level best to go through all these and give you all the information on the right time so you actually watch these assets breaking through. We had our calls a little bit earlier than all this started, so we are positioned well enough. Now, it's not only one asset or two assets. You have like 20,000 assets in this market, and you are trying to figure out 10, 20, 30 assets which can actually run decently. If the market is about to do a 40x, you want to make sure you get at least 25, 30x. That's what you're aiming for, not 400x. You want to get the right amount. Imagine last time the market went up 35x. How many of you took like 20x, right? That's what we are trying. We want to learn from the mistake. We want to put it in the right perspective and make sure we take profits. So if that's your concern, you can follow me. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you received value, please do smash that like button. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.